All right, and we are back here on the GSMC Sports Podcast. And for the third part of the show, we are now going to talk about Joel Embiid officially being shut down for the season by the Sixers. And we talked a little bit about the Sixers and Joel Embiid on a previous show. But yeah, it's just what a forgettable season for the Sixers. Embiid really has not played that much this year. The Sixers, I mean, they're not going to make the playoffs. I mean, they still have kind of a chance to make the play-in, but I've said it. I mean, at that point, what are you really playing for? And at this point, a lot of people are saying that they should tank, just lose on purpose, which I don't think they're going to try to do. But right now they're 21-39. They are now 1-9 in their last 10 games. And like I said, they still have kind of a chance to make the play-in. They're 2.5 games back, but that just shows you how bad the Eastern Conference is once you get past, the Pistons, because there's not a single team that has a winning record that's in the play-in right now. And that's why, the play-in that's one of the things that you can criticize the play-in for, is now you got teams making the playoffs technically that shouldn't technically be in. I mean, in the Western Conference is different, because every team that's in the play-in is over 500. But yeah, once you get past the Pistons, everybody's under 500. But yeah, the Sixers, they're not making it. They will not be making it. And, doing some reading last night, there was one article that I was looking at on The Athletic, and they talked about how, that the 76ers could take, the Grizzlies approach, where you had, John Morant, their star player, go down last year. A ton of injuries, not just to him, but to a lot of guys on the team. And, essentially, they ended up getting a decent pick. They drafted Zach Edey out of Purdue, and now he's a starter. And now look at them. They're one of the top teams in the West. Now, I think it's easier said than done. But, they're talking about, hey, you shut down Embiid, you shut down Paul George. Tyrese Maxey also got hurt, but he got slammed against the ground, but it hurt his back, I believe, but not too serious. But if you shut down, Paul George too, and you just let the season play out, you lose all the games, you got a better chance of getting a higher draft pick. Then you could draft an impact player. You get Embiid back healthy next year, and you'll be back to being the Sixers team you usually are in the regular season. Now, like I said, that's easier said than done. And the other thing, too, is, I get where they're coming from, but also, who's to say Embiid's not going to get hurt again? John Morant, to my knowledge, does not have the injury issues that, also, he's much younger than Embiid. But now he had some other issues, off the court issues that we won't get into, but he is also a young player. Embiid's older, and Embiid is injury prone. So Embiid you could draft an impact player in this upcoming NBA draft, but then Embiid could get hurt next year. And then what? That's my pushback on that logic. I think, though, maybe you consider going into a rebuild. You just break it all down. Well, not get rid of Tyrese Maxey and some of the other players, but, older players like Paul George, it just didn't work out. Paul George has not had a good year. And, he made comments on his podcast that he wasn't going to do his podcast because, he wanted to focus on this season. I mean, there's really nothing to focus on now because they're not going anywhere. Now, what's interesting is, you look at Embiid's contract. So, next season, he's owed $55 million. The 2026-2027 season, he's owed $59.5 million. $64.3 million in the 2027-2028 season, and then $69.1 million in the 2028-2029 season. So in total, over the next 4 seasons, by the way, all guaranteed, He is owed $248 million. And he has missed a lot of time due to injury. Now, the only way that the Sixers could really get out of this deal is if they deem his injuries to be career-ending injuries. And they can get out of his contract. But I don't know if that's going to happen. And, he's not going to walk away. That's a lot of money. We talk about, Embiid should retire. Yeah, maybe he should, but he's not going to. That's a lot of money that you're leaving on the table, and it's all guaranteed. And his knee injury right now is to the same knee that he had another surgery on, another previous surgery. So it's unfortunate because he is a very good player when he's on the court. He played hurt in the playoffs last year against the Knicks, and he still was playing great. But he can't stay healthy. Now, this is kind of how his season went. So, he had a delayed start to training camp. He made his debut on November 12th against the Knicks. The Sixers were 2-8 before he came back. Now, they started to play better. They had a big win over the Celtics on Christmas. They were at 14-19, their record was, on January 4th. But then he got hurt again, missed a month with a foot and knee issues. Then he returned exactly a month ago, February 4th. They didn't win another game. And they've just gone on these massive losing streaks. I mean, I just told you, 1-9 in their last 10 games. But they have struggled. And injuries have played a part in it. And guys have just underperformed. So right now, how I have it here, they have the 6th worst record in the NBA. Now, to get a top 6 pick, they have a 46% chance of getting a top 6 pick. They have a 64% chance of getting the number 5 spot. And then they have an 81% chance of getting the number 4 spot. So, and the other thing too is their first rounder could end up going to, I believe it could end up going to the Thunder if it's not within the top 5 or the top 6. They could end up losing their first round pick. So if they tank and they get, a top 5, top 6 pick, that'll be theirs. And they kind of need it because of the year that they're having right now. So if it's top 6, it'll be protected. They'll keep it. That's kind of how it works. I'm kind of new to talking about the NBA draft picks and how they work because with the NFL it's not like that. They don't have a lottery system and they but that's just how it is at the moment. So but yeah. No, it's it is interesting what the Sixers could do. I mean, they're probably going to finish with that kind of pick anyways. I mean, they might not tell you that they're tanking, or they might not want to tank, but they're not a very good team. They're just not. And this contract you look at for Joel Embiid is just, it's not looking good. And who's going to take on that contract? Let's say they try to trade him. Is anyone going to take that? No. I mean, maybe, but he can't stay healthy. That has been his problem for years now. Misses time. I mean, even during the Olympics, he's playing with a knee brace. And when he does play, he's playing hurt. So, it's tough. It's a tough situation. The Sixers, this has just been, like I said, to start off the segment, it's a forgettable season. I did not expect the Sixers to be this bad. I expected them to be, in the top 6 in the Eastern Conference, not, picking in the top 6 in the upcoming NBA draft. But they've gone backwards. And maybe this is just a fluke year with the injuries, but maybe it won't be. Right now, they have the same record as the Nets, 21-39. Did you think that was going to be the case going into the season? I don't think so. And you look at some of the other players. Tyrese Maxey is having another great year. He's averaging 26 points per game. But you look at Paul George. Paul George is averaging 16. Is that what you expected going into the year? You go back to, what were his stats last year? Last year was 19 and a half. Then he had 23.8 points. The year before, 24.3 points. Yeah, his numbers have gone down. You brought in Paul George to kind of be that, that third option. Now, I guess, if Joel Embiid is playing the whole year, maybe you'll live with it. But now he's kind of turned into the number 2 option with Embiid being hurt. So, yeah, it's just, we'll see what happens. But we still got a month to go left in the season, so Sixers fans are just going to have to, deal with it. But it's going to be interesting what they do and where they end up picking in the NBA draft. We'll find out. But let me know what you guys think about the Embiid situation. So we are going to take our next break. And then when we come back, we will talk about more injuries. We'll switch over to baseball now. We'll talk about the Yankees as another one of their pitchers has now gotten hurt in the starting rotation. And it's a big injury, and we will talk about it when we come back. So with that being said, stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Sports Podcast.